Ooh, I finally got some glasses. I can see the world in 4K for the first time ever. You know what that means? I can watch Greg Bird hit a home run off Andrew Miller for the first time in 4K. What's going on, everyone? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB recap spring training edition. I am in a fantastic mood. I'm not going to wear my glasses in videos because I have too much lighting in my room and it just doesn't look good, but we have a lot to talk about today. Some walk-off grand slams. Kenta Maeda dominated in his spring training start, and I think there's a reason why. Like, what is he doing? And then we're going to talk about George Springer and his injury. We have Steven Strasberg coming back after missing all of 2020. It's going to be a jam-packed video. Thank you all so much for stopping by. And without further ado, let's start talking baseball. So we are, this is going to be tough to talk about because you're either on one side or the other. This is unfortunately one of those topics that brings politics into the game of baseball, but let me go ahead and break it down. The Rangers will be allowing 100% occupancy. You do have to wear a mask. Twitter is erupting. One side is saying that this is completely irresponsible and that Texas just needs to be cut off and not be a part of the U.S. anymore, while the other side says finally life is going back to normal. So I'm not going to give my opinion. Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you make of this? I'm not sure if Rafael Ortega is going to get a starting job in Chicago, but hitting a walk-off grand slam is a pretty good impression. Again, David Ross is going to have a pretty tough time trying to get the Cubs into the playoffs, but maybe Rafael Ortega is kind of an ace up his sleeve. Probably not going to happen, but I just wanted to bring up a walk-off grand slam because rarely do we get that, and we have two of them today. Taiwan Walker was looking great in a Mets uniform. His splitter looks devastating. The Mets are one of those teams that you just can't really put your finger on in terms of, are they going to be a World Series contender or are they really just building up for a 2022 run? Because we all know the Dodgers and the Padres and the Chicago White Sox and the Yankees are so good that maybe it's not the best timing for the Mets to make a run, but still, their core going forward is elite. Before we talk about Kenta Maeda and his pregame warm-up, I want to bring up a subject that is a little bit touchy because Blake Snell, he came out and said that the new ball that is supposed to be deadened by Major League Baseball. If you did not know, MLB owns Rawlings, and the last few years, we all know it was cut and dry. It was traveling 10 to 15 feet further on balls, anywhere from 400 to 450 feet. So we all knew that something was going to change. Justin Verlander was adamant that the ball was juiced, and Blake Snell came out and said that after a few spring training starts, he is very aware of the fact that the ball is completely different. He said that the laces are now thicker, and because of that, he has better control of his off speed, and also that the ball is not traveling as far, which makes the Bobby Witt 480-foot home run even more impressive because he did it with a deadened baseball. And speaking of Bobby Witt Jr., take a look at this play that he made at second base. I mean, in the last week alone, we've shown an inside the park home run which showed off his power and his speed. We saw a 490-foot home run, and now he's making web gems at second base. I mean, what can't the guy do? If he does not get called up in 2021, I'm going to crumple up Major League Baseball and throw it away. Just kidding, I need it to make money and live and pay for my rent. But seriously, if the Royals do not call him up, I mean, yeah, they have kind of a stacked lineup, but they need this guy in their starting lineup ASAP. So yesterday, Kenta Maeda had a dominant spring training start, and he showed everyone that the 2020 Cy Young season that he had, it's not going to be a fluke. So if you're a young kid and you want to be a $1 million Cy Young pitcher, do a couple elbow thrusts, and then this right here. Just do the Michael Phelps. Now, another guy that we've talked about quite a lot is Wander Franco, and I was doing some research on him yesterday, and I could have sworn that the San Francisco Giants traded him to the Rays a few years ago because I read an article that was going around on Twitter. Oh my God, why did the Giants do this? Well, come to find out, Wander Franco has two brothers, both named Wander Franco. So there's three Wanders, and they are the son of Wander Franco. So 4 Wander Francos in one family. I'm thinking that the wife and the mother didn't have much say in that. Or one speculation, now this is probably completely wrong. Someone brought up an interesting point on Twitter that they name every single son Wander Franco, so when they're going to play in the majors, they present them with the birth certificate from the youngest son, even if it's the oldest. So they kind of flip-flop, and It's weird, right? But anyways, let me know your opinions in the comment section down below on Bobby Witt Jr. as well as Wander Franco. We're going to talk about some players who are dealing with injuries. George Springer has a left abdominal pain injury, so he's probably going to be back in the next few weeks, but they are going to keep it safe. And this is just a few days after Nate Pearson went down with a groin strain. He's going to be out for the foreseeable future. Steven Strasberg, who is coming back from injury, threw almost 40 pitches, and he said that his fastball is better than ever. If he is back to normal, and if Max Scherzer can have a really good 35-year-old season with Patrick Corbin as that number 3 starter, with Kyle Schwarber, Josh Bell, Juan Soto, Trey Turner leading that offense, and now that you have Brad Hand closing games for you, the Nationals, they look pretty good on paper, I'm not gonna lie. Now, another injury I do want to bring up is Zach Britton. He is now down after going through arm surgery. There was apparently bone chips in his left elbow, which means that he's not going to be gone for the entire season. It's not Tommy John. While it is a surgery and he's probably going to be out for the next 4 to 8 weeks, it is not a season ender, so most likely he'll be back in June, maybe even July. That's my best diagnosis, but then again, I'm a 24-year-old who yells in his room, so what do I know about medical terms? Jay Bruce homered yet again, and it begs the question, are they going to keep him even if he is raking? Now, he's a whole lot more expensive than Mike Tauchman, so if they keep Jay Bruce, I'm almost expecting them to cut or trade Mike Tauchman, and I think that he is one of the better outfielders in terms of defensive outfielders, extremely underrated in his rookie season. I mean, he almost won a Gold Glove, and he's got a rocket for an arm. He's that underrated, and I think he's pretty special, but maybe he's going to have to get most of his cuts on a different team if Jay Bruce makes the squad. Deivi Garcia went 3 innings, had 5 strikeouts, and 0 walks. Now, I have been getting comments over the last few days of people saying, Fuzzy, stop overreacting to spring training. I'm not. If you are performing as you're supposed to or exceeding expectations, I'm going to talk about that. But if you're not, I mean, it's spring training. The competition is not as stiff. If you are underperforming, that's something that we do have to bring up. But I understand your guys' concern by saying stop overreacting. I just like talking baseball, okay? It's exciting. Now, probably what they're referring to is my hype of Gary Sanchez and Joey Gallo, because Gary will not stop hitting home runs, and same with Joey Gallo, as he's now up to 5 bombs already, which just is so exciting. I want Gary Sanchez and Joey Gallo to be MVP candidates, because those are 2 of the guys in all of Major League Baseball that are capable of having 45 to 50 home run seasons. Not very many guys can do it, but if they rake, they can absolutely accomplish that feat. Now, one more guy I do want to talk about, because I've been hyping him up for the last week. Heliot Ramos of the San Francisco Giants is now up to 3 bombs. He has been a highly touted prospect for the last 2 or 3 years, and if he can make the Giants squad, remember this right now, he will be an MVP candidate in the next 5 years. He's that special. You know, the one team that I would really not want to hit against, now I'm glad I quit baseball because I don't ever have to experience this in real life, but the Chicago White Sox yesterday, they had Lance Lynn start, they had Garrett Crochet throwing 102 with the curveball, and then Michael Kopech also appeared in that game. That sounds like the worst experience a hitter could ever have. Lance Lynn to Michael Kopech to Garrett Crochet, all of them throw 96 to 99 miles an hour with devastating off-speed stuff. Just no thank you. Now, one graphic I really want to show just quickly before we talk about Trevor Story and Christian Yelich, and then we end the video with a walk-off grand slam. Yadier Molina has been such a dominant catcher for so long. Look at this graphic. He is by far the best at limiting stolen bases, because we know there's not a platoon situation in St. Louis. He has been the guy for the last decade, maybe even 15 years. You guys can remind me how long he's been in baseball, but I mean, you just do not run on Yachty. Brendan Rodgers hit a home run yesterday, as well as Trevor Story and CJ Cron. 2 of those guys I have big question marks about. Is CJ Cron going to be able to stay healthy? Because back in 2019, he was part of the record-setting Minnesota Twins. He has easy pop to all sides of the outfield, left field, if he wants to go to center, if he wants to go Oppo Taco, he has easy pop. And then Brendan Rodgers, who was the #1 overall pick a few years ago, when is he going to get his defining moment in Major League Baseball? Because while he has been called up, he hasn't been very good, so maybe this is the year where he breaks out, because he has the talent to do so. Christian Yelich hit a bomb yesterday, which is nice to see after a horrific 2020 year, which is crazy, because even though he was considered bad by every stretch of the imagination, his career worst are other people's career best. He's kind of like the Aaron Rodgers of baseball. Even though Aaron Rodgers, when he had a career worst, was still a top 5 quarterback. Christian Yelich was not a top 5 outfielder last year. I'm sorry, but hopefully we get a bounce back season, because Yelich, when I see him in his peak form, I mean, we're looking at Pittsburgh Pirates Barry Bonds. That's how good he is. Look at Sky Bolt doing his thing. The only reason why I showed this clip is because his name is Sky Bolt, and I just want to say it one more time. Look at Sky Bolt make this play. That's just incredible. Now, if you're brand new to the channel, you might not know, but we've been ending these videos with college highlights, so I had to show it. A walk-off grand slam, the second one of today's video. This comes from Alabama. Dude, college baseball is so much fun. If you have not been watching, go do that right now, because these kids have egos out the wazoo, and they're yelling at each other. They're snarling at each other like wild animals. It's just so entertaining, and you're missing out.